Welcome to Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood, the podcast where we have honest, unfiltered conversations about success, self-growth, and navigating the complexities of life as a young woman. I'm your host, El-Amin, journalist, model, influencer, talk show host, and storyteller. I created this podcast to be the guide I wish I had, one that speaks to the highs, the lows, and everything in between. Here we break down real-life challenges from self-sabotage and ambition to relationships and mental health, all while embracing the journey of becoming our best selves. My goal is to empower and inspire you through my own experiences, the story of others, and the lessons we're all still learning. So whether you're here for advice, motivation, or just a space where you feel seen, welcome. And let's get into it. Hi guys, and welcome back to yet another episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. I am so super excited to welcome our guest today, Ciara. Hi, Aashyrah.
I'm amazing. I'm so excited.
So excited to have you here. So Aashyrah was supposed to be on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, but I was very busy. Our schedules just kind of conflicted, but I'm so happy to have you here tonight. We are going to be talking about so many things. So Aashyrah, you guys may be familiar with her from YouTube. Aashyrah has a very successful YouTube channel. She's one of my favorite, not even one, my favorite vlogger. And Aashyrah just recently released a documentary about dancing through her diagnosis. You were diagnosed with Palsy as a child, I believe.
Yes.
And she is probably one of the strongest dancers I've ever seen. So
Thank
I love a story of an overcomer. So we're definitely going to be diving into that. We're also going to get into some of the cattiness of people and how we've grown through it. Because I feel like we're both doing so well in our careers. And we've gotten past all of like the mean girl stuff and the catty stuff, because I talk about that on here all the time. And we've both thrived. We've done so well. And then we have some Ask Alex questions for you all. So both of our friends, all of our friends submitted to our Ask Alex form. If you want to submit to the Ask Alex form, the link is in the episode description below for a chance to be featured in an episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. I'm so excited. Okay, so Aashyrah, tell us about yourself. Like, where are you from? I don't even know all this stuff, so tell me a little bit about your background.
Okay. I'm from Chicago, of course. I was raised, my childhood was on the South Side. I kind of grew up all over just because my mom didn't want me to go to school on the South Side. But in the documentary where I said I started occupational therapy or physical therapy at La Vida Hospital, that is South. So with that, I kind of stopped going there when I was probably a preteen. I have a lot more strength than I started off with. It was initially me and another girl. Her name is Abby, and we were close friends as kids, and we did our therapy sessions together because she has the same thing but with her right arm, and mine is my left. So hers actually, in her condition, she was stronger than I was, but I definitely am very blessed with the amount of strength and mobility that I have now. And I'm just like super grateful for a lot. But yes, I'm so excited to get this started.
Yes, I'm so excited to start this. So tell me a little bit about how you started dancing. Was that like a way of relief for you? Was that like a creative expression? How did that start?
Okay, so my mother not grew up dancing, but she started dancing when she was a teenager at Chicago Multicultural Dance Center. And I followed the legacy because my childhood best friend, actually the mother of my childhood best friend, is my mother's best friend. So I watched one of her dance performances with CMDC, and I told my mother that I wanted to dance. So I was mad because my best friend and I, her name is Scarlett. We have the same last name, Scarlett Bennett. We were just meant to be sisters. But I saw her dancing and I was jealous. So we're very girly. We love spotlight and we love being on stage. So ever since I was 4, I've been dancing, and my mother has done nothing but support me through it.
That is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you ever, how do you credit your mother for inspiring you to dance?
She always pushed me because, of course, I had times where I wanted to give up, especially with my condition. When I first started, like something as simple as raising my arms up and anything where I needed to hold my position with my left arm, it would be uncomfortable, but it did nothing but make my arm stronger. And she had to help me realize a lot of things that I realize now that I didn't before.
So when you decided to start dancing, how did your doctor and your medical team take?
I mean, it wasn't really in their hands.
Uh,
But when I was like a baby, of course the doctor's input was just like, oh yeah, her arm is gonna be stuck like this forever, and she's not gonna be able to do this, that, and the third. And my mother worked her butt off to make sure that I was going to succeed as much as possible. And I have a very amazing success story compared to anyone else that is in my situation. It's very unlikely for somebody to have the amount of strength that I've developed and to have the amount of mobility that I have. So she used to like keep my arm down from being contracted while I was asleep as a baby, and I had to wear an arm brace. Like she did everything right. So
well, I love that. Yeah, moms, they don't get enough credit. Your mom seems like she's really pushed you. What does she think about your career now?
she's very proud. I showed her the documentary yesterday because she's just been waiting for so long for me to tell my story. Um, and she was just bawling. And we were both crying. She was definitely crying more than me, but she just kind of broke down and was just so humbled and so felt so blessed for us to for me to be in the place that I am mentally and physically, because she didn't know how I was going to end up. She wasn't sure if I was going to be delayed because of like my lack of oxygen during my birth and all of these things. So, of course, she was thinking like a mom, but everything worked out.
Well, I'm so happy for you. I'm really happy for you and your journey. So, tell us a little bit about this documentary. I have not watched yet, so you have to debrief me.
Okay, so it's just a documentary of me telling my story, not only of my difficult birth, but also how I started dancing. It's really giving credit to a lot of the people that have helped me in my 18 years, especially like my dance teachers, my mom, my family, all of the above, my therapist, because my occupational therapist literally has known me since before I was one. So I've had the same occupational therapist since that one baby video that is in the beginning of the documentary. So it kind of just gives a story to where I started and where I am now, including, I didn't really touch on high school, but it also included how I find therapy in cinema and film, because anything, like I said in the documentary, started from scratch is something that I have a passion for because it's mine. So I just love editing. It's my free space. It's my quiet time. I get to be alone and I get to have control. So
Okay.
it's
Well, I edit like that. Okay.
thank you. Thank you. I put a lot of time into it. Yes.
We gotta check out, guys. Her YouTube will be in the episode description below. Make sure to check out her YouTube for sure. I am a
Thank
huge
you.
fan of your vlogs. I loved your in-depth makeup routine. I thought it was so cute.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about living with your condition. What is that like?
Girl, it's funny that you asked that because currently I'm having a little bit of irritation, like my underarm, because with my surgery, um, I doubt if you can see, but I have like the scar right here from the surgery and it goes all the way to my underarm. So like, girl, I'm a wax girly. I can't wax my left underarm, so I just leave my underarms alone because it does something like, because of course where I had my stitches is tissue, so it's not safe for me to wax. It's extremely painful. Like I know what a wax is supposed to feel like and it's not supposed to feel
It's
like
worse
that.
than that.
Yes, it's crazy. So I just a tip, if you want to get waxed off, just have hot water on a towel and just sit it there. As long as you don't have a whole bunch of wax, it will definitely be easier to remove.
Oh, that's smart. Why
Yes.
not some laser hair removal? Because that's what I get, and it's so great.
I have the at home laser hair removal thing.
Yeah.
I really use it for my legs. I also use it for my underarms as well, but mainly my legs.
Okay, and does that irritate you at all? No, I don't. I'm telling you.
No ma'am. Yeah, my legs are amazing. I kind of went like sometimes during the summer I kind of go on like a shaving cleanse, but now I have like a different routine and everything where I wax instead or whatever I decide to do. But for my legs, I kind of wait a long time because it takes a long time for all the hair to grow back thanks to laser hair removal. So I'm
I
happy.
love laser hair removal. You can't get me off of a laser hair removal.
Yeah, I don't care what anybody says.
So tell us a little bit about growing up in dance and what made you want to go to a creative arts high school for dance?
Okay, if I'm being honest, I kind of had Whitney Young as one of my top options.
That should have been a dolphin.
But it wasn't number one. And, based off of the applications and everything, the school that you get into based off of your ranking is the only school you really see. But I kind of wanted to go to well, at first I didn't want to go to Shy Arts. I just felt like growing up in dance and meeting so many Shy Arts now alumni.
Okay, so you didn't originally want to go to Shy Arts.
Because growing up in the dance environment, I met so many dancers that are now Shy Arts alumni, and I just kind of felt like they let just anybody in. Like I kind of felt like the standards were a little low. Because mind you, this is young me talking.
Okay.
But then I applied and I fell in love with it because I actually started my application and got into vocal, and I auditioned for both and got into both. But me wanting to do everything, I thought, hey, I could do both. I could sing and dance in school. But that's not the way that it worked. So
Right.
I ended up switching to dance a week before the school year started, just because I just felt like that's where my spirit wanted to be. I also have stage fright with singing, so that wouldn't really be a good mix.
Yeah.
I probably would have failed everything,
No, you
but
wouldn't.
it would have pushed me out of my comfort zone for sure. I'm still getting out of my comfort zone in a lot of ways because we're basically grown now. Kind of have no choice.
Yes.
So I gotta suck it up.
Yes, that's true. What do you have a favorite genre? Is it ballet? Are we a hip hop dancer? Like what do we do?
Okay, so ideally, the idea is to be very versatile, but ballet is the foundation. I don't care for ballet that much, but I have technique. I have enough technique to be a dancer that doesn't have to fiend for jobs. Like I kind of have that type of background, which is the blessing of somebody that trained at Shy Arts or just trained like strictly in general. So yeah.
Wow. So where do you want this to be long term? Like what is your long term vision?
Okay, great question. Okay, I'm always the same thing with not wanting to go to Shy Arts. I know that as I grow up and as my mind develops, I change my mind. So I'm also very big on I hate the commercial dance world and I hate commercial dance classes and all this
Oh,
stuff.
you do?
It's something like that, but I'm not terrible at it.
So why do you
I
hate it? Why do we hate it?
I just don't like the experiences I've had with commercial dance teachers
Okay.
because they all have the same process where they pick the dancers based off process of elimination. But that's also the real world, and I wasn't completely old enough to just embrace that. So now I kind of wouldn't hate to be in the commercial dance world.
Okay.
But my long term vision is to create a performing arts program that specializes in people with special needs because I'm firsthand experience
Right.
and I have a lot of skills under my belt as far as performing arts, film, anything that I try to get my hands on so that I know who to hire because you're not going to be taking care of kids, taking care of young artists, and you don't know what you're doing. Because if
Right.
I have to be the teacher, I will. I will gladly do that.
I'll do it myself.
Yes.
So I'm happy to see that. And how are you making that come true in your daily life now?
I remember Miss Terry, one of the dance teachers at Ciara, she used to tell me, like, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And I just feel like everything that I'm doing now, including like for my mental health, but specifically for my career, like keeping up with the vlogging and all that, just experience so that I could keep getting better, is just doing nothing but benefiting me in the future so that I can have like something to document. I plan on starting a family eventually, so this is very important for me to share it with my kids. And that's really how I think of it. Like, I don't think of it for the views. Like, I genuinely have a passion for editing, and I know that I want to share everything with my children because every single vlog that I have was at a different era in my life. And like, it kind of gives me nostalgia. Like, some of the vlogs, I remember I did not want to do them. I did not want to do them. And I was just telling like two of the current juniors that I really appreciate them because I wrote letters for people, that I really appreciate them because they didn't know this, but one of the times that I didn't want to vlog, that was the first time they asked me to be in my vlog. So I was just like, imagine if I didn't vlog and they came up to me and asked me that and there was no vlog. So I told them I appreciated that. So it's really just, it just feeds my soul. I like to be by myself. So it's just something productive.
And I see how well you've done with it.
Thank
And I
you.
really enjoy your YouTube channel. Again, guys, make sure to go check out Aashyrah's YouTube channel. The link is in the episode description below. So, Aashyrah, there is some gossip going around town, that you're about to be in Ciara's music video. Would you like to tell us about that?
Okay, so it's not set in stone yet. We're praying on it. But I'm in the semifinals to be in a dance competition or to get the opportunity to audition for Ciara's music video, and it is voting based. So I have the link like all up and down my Instagram page. It's on my Facebook as well. So share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it with your mama, your daddy, your pops. Because it's an amazing opportunity, and I know for a fact that regardless of the nonsense that I have going on right now, that's really the only thing I need to focus on, especially because I will be bringing other people along with me. Like, I need to get ready to have a comfortable life so that I can make other people's lives a little bit easier and like give back.
Yes, that's such a good value. I'm glad that you're going into that with that value.
Yes.
So, okay, with this music video, the link will also be in the episode description below. Make sure to click that link to vote for Aashyrah, guys. Okay, but we're gonna do something a little special to get y'all to vote. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is if you vote for Aashyrah and send both of us a screenshot, you'll get a shout out on both of our Instagram, TikToks, and YouTube channels. That's a lot of shout outs. That's 6 shout outs. People gonna come at your page.
Yeah, I have a couple of viewers on my stuff right now. I got receipts.
Okay, but a couple people listen to this podcast. Okay. Second thing we will do is exclusive content access. So we will have some behind the scenes footage from this podcast, some behind the scenes footage from the El-Amin show, and some behind the scenes footage from Aashyrah's blog that will be exclusive just for our voters. And we will have a giveaway. We're a little cheap, but we'll have a giveaway.
We'll make it work.
We will make it work. Not only that, but we will also have a feature on the podcast. So if you like Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood, make sure to vote for Aashyrah. Give both of us a screenshot to get your shout outs, your giveaway entry, exclusive content access, and a chance to be featured on the Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood podcast. Isn't that very exciting? So if I were you, I would definitely vote for Aashyrah, okay? Because we want to see her in Miss Ciara's music video. Who don't like Ciara?
I have to represent Chicago. I gotta let them know. Chicago is a state. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh my goodness. I love Chicago. Like, now that we're getting to the point where we're about to go to college and move away, I'm kind of like, wait, I'm going to miss it.
It's not that bad. Politically, it's amazing.
It really is. I can't, oh Lord, don't remind me.
I think our state in general is just very lucky because we're just kind of an island when it comes to politics.
We are.
Yeah.
We really are.
Yeah. So
we have amazing politicians. I love our governor. I like our mayor. I think he's, doing his best. I know, I really do. I like Mayor Johnson. He actually came and visited me personally when I was in the hospital, so I keep that kind of thing to me. And our food is amazing. That's very off topic, but our food is great. The skyline is amazing. It's just like growing up in Chicago. The whole experience of it.
Because let's talk about it. Like our food, our nightlife, like,
Yes.
And then people expect the Chicago experience in New York. Our skyline is top tier.
I think it's a little
Skyline is beautiful. I never get tired of looking at it. It's like, it's organized, it's ideal, it's stereotypical, and I like it.
Chicago is, a lot of people say it's better than New York. Because I would argue we have some pieces over New York. It's less people, so it's less overcrowded. I think the people are a little bit nicer. It's cheaper, and that food.
I always say, because I have a lot of opinions about New York. People know this about me. I will say, when it comes to Chicago, you really can be a little bit more free compared to New York. Because New York is scary. It is not for the weak. If a woman grew up in New York, Cardi B don't play. I see why she doesn't play. If we have to deal with nonsense from teenage girls in a bougie town like Chicago, imagine rough trenches in New York.
The Bronx.
I am appalled. It's crazy over there.
Not it like that, but it's just a Chicago superiority thing. A lot of people from Chicago think it's the best city like in the world. It is. I personally think so. I love Chicago. Like, I wear Chicago so proud. Like,
I like Chicago. I love Chicago. I don't know about the Bears.
No,
They're a different story.
I won't say nothing. I'm gonna be quiet.
Okay, what's your opinion?
As a sports journalist, I like the Bears. I think that the changes that we just made recently were the changes that are long overdue. I'll say that.
And I will say that I like the players. I just don't like the coaches. Because they get paid regardless. And our players, I'm sure if they weren't goofies, like, they wouldn't have a problem with, like, usually, like, how do I say this? If I was being drafted and I was like the Bears, I'm sure there's a reason that they took that contract. Like, these guys are talented. Yeah.
The way it works in the draft is the number one players in the draft, so they all have rankings. So Caleb Wilson, he's our quarterback. No, that's not his name. Williams. I don't know where that came from. Caleb Williams, he's our quarterback. He was the number one draft prospect. So they're like, okay, we've seen all these kids play in college. This is the best one. So the best 1, 2, and 3, they have to go to the teams that performed the worst the last season because they think they need the best draft pick. And so the Bears, they performed worse last season, so they picked up the number one draft pick, Caleb Williams. So that's how that works.
Okay. That makes sense. But I don't hate them. I just don't like to claim them. I'm like, yeah, the Bears. That's me. Yeah. That's me.
You know what? I love the Bears. That's all we're gonna say.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to talk. We've both bonded, and we've talked a little bit about the fake friend epidemic. Unfortunately, in a lot of friendships, especially at this age between women, there's a lot of animosity, there's a lot of jealousy and competition, and it's just so hard, I would say, in my experience, to find genuine friends. It's been very hard for me in high school. So we've bonded over that, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about your experiences and some of my experiences, how we've grown past them.
Yeah, I kind of I wouldn't say I had an easy middle school experience, but, like, let's just say I had a lot of eye openers the moment I came to high school. And I realized that a lot of people are raised differently, and that's okay. It's not my job to try and make sense of people's personalities to themselves. It's the same thing, like, you can't help somebody that doesn't want to be helped. It's the blind leading the blind when it comes to high school. like genuinely, like they have ringleaders. They don't want to admit that they're following people and they don't have their own minds. And it's just like, they all look a mess.
Yes.
And they isolate the person that they choose to be the competition. Because in my case, there were a few people that have been in that situation. And in my eyes, those are some of the most gifted dancers in our graduating class. So I'm just, that says something about the dancers' personalities if they're picking on the most talented and unproblematic dancers.
Ooh, speaking of this. Okay, so in your situation and in my situation, I think we're both going through something similar at the same time. It is so weird, and I can say it can even be damaging to somebody's confidence or self-esteem to make friends and then find out that they hate you or they've secretly hated you the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
How have you dealt with that, and how has that affected Aashyrah?
Girl, I'm be honest. My friendship breakups hurt more than my actual breakup.
Yes, yes. Oh my
Girl,
God.
I was bawling my eyes out at one point more than I was bawling my eyes out over my ex, because the time span between my breakup and my friendship breakups was literally a month.
Ugh.
And that's not a lot of time at all. Especially the other thing is just like I trauma bonded with specific people, which I didn't realize until we stopped being friends. And it was really just like in the hands of God, because I know for a fact that I know that I didn't do anything. I'm not going to say I'm completely innocent. Like, I know who I am. I know that I could be a girl, but I also can own up to that. But I'm not going to own up to stuff that I didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And people aren't really putting together the context clues if I'm telling you the stuff that I did do, but you also want me to own up to the stuff that you heard. There's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I just gotta like let people go. I really just did let people go, but it just turned into a whole bunch of pettiness and unnecessary talking. And they could have been as low as they were and beat them at their own game, because I have just as much to say about them. But like I said, it's the blind leading the blind. It's just a whole bunch of naive high schoolers.
Thank you. I think we have the same approach to things. I have to say this, and then you can tell me if you agree. Talking to you and your demeanor, I've always gotten, even when we were freshmen, I've always thought you were very confident. And I admire that in you. I think a lot of women our age don't gain confidence until later in life.
Mm-hmm.
So when they meet a girl our age who has confidence, who has self-esteem, and obviously likes herself, they take it as intimidating, and then you're stuck up and all kinds.
Cockiness.
Yes.
That was a huge one. People don't know the difference between cocky and confident. And I'm a very extremely supportive person, and people know that. Even if I have my cocky moments, sometimes I have a right to be cocky.
Yes, you do.
Hello. There's
No.
nothing wrong with a little extra oomph to the confidence, especially in my environment. Like, I have to be conceited. Because if I'm not going to love me, who is? Obviously not them.
Thank you. No, thank you. And it's so personal to me because we're both tall Black women. And I'm sure you experienced, because when I was in middle school, it was like all hell broke loose that I was tall.
I couldn't get
that used to be a thing on with me too. I said that on here before. I used to think I would just never really date. I remember my math teacher told me that in the 7th grade. She was like, "How are you going to date and you're so tall?" And I was like,
that was mean. That's a little backhanded.
it was so mean. And so that was a big thing for me. And I also struggled with weight issues when I was younger, and that was just something for me. And it took me a while to build up the self-esteem I have. Like, me versus at 14, when we were freshmen or whatever, my confidence has skyrocketed. So it really hurts my feelings when people are like, "Oh, you think you're better," or "Oh, you think you're cocky." It's just, I would say it's a reflection of their insecurity. Don't you think so?
Oh, girl. You hit it right on the nail, because Lord knows, I always say this. I recently just had a little debate or conversation, whatever, if you will, with somebody who sent me a whole novel worth of text messages.
Yes, we don't get into that. because I need to know.
And I will say that a lot of the stuff that she said is literally a reflection off of her. And it's just like, how are you going to tell me that people don't mess with me and that I'm in people's faces when there's nothing wrong with being cordial? Because at the end of the day, these are people that want to be in my vlogs. I have the utmost respect for them as long as they don't disrespect me, which they have before. But I still am cordial and I know when to separate myself, and I don't hang around them for anything less than being in a dance studio. That's what she tried to make it seem like I am doing. But it's just like, I hear the stuff they say about you too.
Oh.
Like, what do you want me to do because they don't like me? What, you want a cookie?
Well, another thing,
Like,
people say that to me all the time. Like at school, I got into an argument with this girl like probably 2 or 3 weeks ago or something, and she was like, "Well, nobody likes you, or you don't have
like, what am I supposed to do? Okay, I get it.
Like, I think people get upset because they'll tell me, okay, well, nobody here likes you, and then it won't affect me. Because to me, I look at it from the angle of like, well, we're almost grown. I turn 18. This time next month, we'll be 18. Mm-hmm. We're almost grown. So, and we're going to college and we're all moving away. So I don't really care if I was like generally liked in high school. I came to high school to get good grades, get into a good college, and find my career. And all 3 were done. So, who cares?
Wait, where are you going to college? Do you know?
Girl, fight on. USC. Yeah, we're not committed yet. We gotta wait,
Okay.
guys.
Okay, because I said I was committing to Butler, but they're a little expensive. And also, I'm not done dancing because I didn't get into their dance program, but that's okay because, you know, I recently found a spark again because I'm getting better at dance and I can't stop now. So I'm waiting on one school that we talked about. So
listen,
we'll see.
Claim it, okay? We're waiting on USC. Claim it, okay?
Yes.
So it's gonna work out for you. So do you want to open up a little bit about what's going on with your friends?
I think I told like the gist of it. I don't really like to get too much into detail because people always take stuff out of my mouth all the time. Like every single time I say something. They take the parts that they want out of my mouth. But like if I'm gonna like keep it cute, I had a breakup. After the breakup, I lost friends. Like it is what it is. But along with losing friends, it turned into a whole bunch of unnecessary he say, she say. Aashyrah said this about you. And basically, since I'm not friends with her anymore, and because I feel like she did something to me, I want you to feel that way too. That's what my entire senior year has been. That's not the only case that's also what happened my freshman year. Every single year I experienced different things. My freshman year, I was pinned as the cocky girl. My sophomore year, I ended up befriending people, but those weren't really the people that I needed to be friends with, so I grew past that. Junior year, I forgot what happened junior year. I think I was just cruising. I was really just cruising junior year. Had a little situationship, my first like heartbreak, if you will, but it was nothing but just a situationship. It was really just I was heartbroken because I felt led on. And I was a little naive since it was my first experience. And then senior year, I got out of a relationship, a real relationship. So that was hard enough as it is because I kind of knew what I was getting myself into. Still have love for my ex. Still have love for my ex friends and all of the above, but kind of just over being pinned the bad guy. Because I know for a fact what the truth is, and I can't make people believe it.
Well, I think one thing that we also share in common is our faith. And I always say to people, like, when stuff happens to me, I'll call my girlfriends and I'll tell them about it. And they'll say, well, why didn't you get mad? Why didn't you yell? Why are you being so calm about this? And I always say, you know what? I hold myself to a higher standard because I've had so many talks with God. And I've talked a lot about, that's one thing that comes up a lot in my prayers is forgiveness and anger and bitterness and all of this stuff. So it's learning how to turn the other cheek, literally, like they say in the Bible. Like, I don't have to engage in this argument because I know what I did. I know who I am. I said what I said in what's her name, Nini's words. I said what I said.
I said what I said.
What I said. And I don't have to go back and forth with you. If you don't like me, that's fine, but I'm not going to seep down to your level. But a lot of people take that as, you see, that's where I say you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because a lot of people will take that as, she thinks she's better than me, so I'm going to continue to attack her more because she won't get down to my level and call me names and talk about me. So how do you deal with that?
Oh, girl. Honestly, I kind of match it with pettiness. I was raised to, I know I have a temper when it comes to, I'm not great with confrontation. I don't like when people confront me in person because I get heated very easily. So I avoid that by literally any means necessary. No matter how much I say I want somebody to confront me and stop being scary, it makes me heated when I talk to somebody that's like speaking to a brick wall. And that's not good for anybody, especially because I am tall. I don't need to be putting my hands on people. And that's not cute. Like, they can barely reach me. And I can barely reach them.
No.
But I really just, I do a lot of praying. I had a lot of soul searching going on during my senior year. I hope to get baptized soon. I kind of wanted to get back. I saw some of your videos. Like when I had reached out to you, I dedicated time to watching some of your videos. And I was like, oh my gosh, like she's a sister in Christ. I was like, oh my goodness, she got baptized. And I'm not like super big on, I don't like to say religion, but I'd like to say faith. Because so many people, like, as I'm sure you know, they kind of pin Christianity as an issue or like as, oh, God said you're going to go to hell if you don't do this, that, and the third. And it's quite the opposite if you just educate yourself.
Yes.
So I had a light bulb moment where you were talking about you pray for forgiveness. I kid you not. That is one of my biggest prayers because in my past relationship, I had a lot of animosity because of a lot of reasons. And I've grown past that animosity. So I have a lot more genuine love for him as a person. Not that I didn't before, but it's even stronger now, whether we're together or not. And whether we speak to each other or not, you know? So I'm really big on understanding that part of being a Christian is forgiving to the fullest extent. Because I did not understand forgiveness before I took a break from school. I was like, look, man, like old me, 6 months ago me would have wished all the bad stuff on people that made me feel like nothing. And now I'm just like, God bless you.
Thank you. No,
And not even sarcastically, genuinely, God bless you.
And my friends literally will tell me that because they don't understand it because there's been such an attitude shift. I would say pre-baptism, post-baptism.
I remember your personality.
Yes, I was a little fiery. Let's say that.
I didn't remember, so I didn't know of you too much. Of course, I thought you were pretty. I still think you're pretty, but
beautiful.
Thank you, girl. Thank you. But I just feel like you had a lot of pressure on yourself as far as your education, because you used to have some like little breakdowns sometimes, and because we had the same study hall freshman year. So I remember you being like 2 seats behind me and you were on your assignments. Like you were on it. You couldn't care less. You were like, I'm ready to go grade for grade. You did not. You were like, I wish a girl would. Like she could. Let me see your power school, cause mine is good. Mine isn't great right now. It's getting there because I haven't been to school until recently.
But you're doing it. You're doing the right thing.
Yes, but I definitely noticed a big change in your confidence. Not that I didn't think you were confident before, but like you're genuinely like you have what social media calls the Jesus glow.
Stop it.
And I worked on my Jesus glow as well.
You're glowing. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a flex.
You look amazing. No, you really do. So I have struggled. That's another thing. I've struggled with mental health. You know, I've been open about it. I have anxiety. I have major depression disorder, and learning to live with that because I'm not on any kind of like antidepressants. I don't smoke weed or nothing. I go through life completely sober.
I'll touch on that.
Yes, learning how to balance that and being a Christian and going back to school. How are you doing that?
Girl, la 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 la. Okay, I have to start with putting God first. I did try like alcohol and all that at one point because it's high school. I, tried stuff. And I also, as well, I watched one of your podcasts with my mom. I struggle with anxiety and depression as well. I just recently have an amazing team behind my back of therapists, psychiatrists and stuff, and I got the help that I needed before I went back to school because I just genuinely wasn't doing okay before winter break. And 2 weeks wasn't a long enough break for me because of how much was going on in such a short time span, because I'm up against an environment where people want to see me fail because they want what I have. And that's just the truth. Ooh, especially a boy. Especially
Ciara, let me tell you. If nobody understands that, I understand it. I never really talk about it on the podcast, so I'll keep it brief. But when I transitioned into young, there was this guy, and people, oh my God, Aashyrah, they glazed him like he was like 2010 Justin Bieber. It was this thing about this guy. And all my friends were so scared to talk to him. And me, I was like,
right. I'm like, what's up?
I had so many girls, and nobody even knew who I was because I did this like the first week I got there. And then me and him became friends. You know, he was nice, but I had so many girls that were like, I hate her. She's Little Miss Priss. She thinks she's all that. I had so many girls, like of all ages, of all grades. I had a teacher or two. I had to stop being on my cheer team because they didn't like me because of that boy.
I had a few teachers that had opinions about me as well, just because of biased mindsets.
Yes, it's ridiculous. So I understand that as well. So how do you deal with that? Because that made me so mad for so long. Because it was like, it's one guy.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Also, you're just the new girl. That's girls find competition in a lot of things, especially insecure women. And having a new pretty girl, come on now. That's just, all eyes are on you. All eyes are already on you. People look at you when you walk in the room. So
that's another thing. The same thing with you. So I definitely think that you definitely exert beauty, confidence, radiance when you walk into a room.
Thank
definitely
you.
bring a certain glow in. Do you feel that some of the people that are giving you problems are just jealous of that glow?
I don't like to say jealous, but if anything, it does something to their self-esteem because they don't have the heart and the mindset and anything like that I have. So it's just if you're insecure and then you see somebody that has the things that you want.
Well, how do you deal with, because I've noticed a lot of women, and I'll say this, I have friends now that I'm having problems with that I've looked back on it and I said, well, you know what, I think that you were treating me like I was in competition with you. And it's weird, but that's something I've definitely noticed in a lot of my friendships in high school. A lot of girls will act like we're all in competition with each other. I don't know what. How do you do?
Okay, I will say as far as competition, that speaks volumes because I go to a performing arts high school. And if y'all don't know, Alex's origins was Shy Arts High School. So that's where I still am. I should have left. But
no better.
No regrets. I've had a lot of character development and I wouldn't change any of that because now I'm prepared to become an adult, unlike some people. So honestly, I've had my character development and now certain people are about to go through that phase where they have to learn the stuff that I learned. But it's going to be harder because they're going to be adults and not high schoolers. So now I don't have to deal with that. But I mean, of course, it never ends. But what was the question? I kind of got a little bit off topic.
How do you deal with certain women treating you as competition, especially in friendships?
In friendships, I don't notice it right away. Unfortunately, one of my circumstances now that I like look back at the comments that a certain someone made, that is a mutual friend of my ex and I. Let's just say she's just happy to have her best friend back instead of having to compete with the attention, because there's only so much of one person to go around. You know, he can't give his attention to the entire, like, he can't please the whole school.
Yeah.
And I was his partner at the time, so it's kind of, you know, it weighs it out a little bit. So I just deal with it when God shows me that it's time for somebody to not be in my life anymore. And honestly, I have no problem with that until people like do the most as far
Right.
as drama and using my life as gossip and trying to say that I'm the problem and that I'm always putting myself in drama when whole time I'm just there.
Right.
And I shared some information with the wrong people and they used it against me. Sue me. What?
Yeah, no, but it happens. So how do you avoid, now that we've seen the red flags in our previous friends, how do we avoid the toxic relationships? Like, what advice would you give to girls out there who are dealing with those friends that have the animosity, that have the jealousy, who are starting to single them out? How do you avoid making friends like that, and how do you deal with this situation?
Number one, to avoid having friends like that, you don't have to share everything with your friend, even if it's your bestie for the restie. Like, I learned that the hard way. I had certain people where I just shared everything with them and they ended up being the people to use it against me. It's just certain things like that, especially because when the roles are reversed, I allow their nonsense to go in one ear and out the other so that I don't use it against them. But that's not the case for me in this situation. So just don't share too much. Never be too vulnerable with certain people. That's the one rule of avoiding fakeness. Don't let them know you to a certain extent. I don't care who it is.
How do you deal with those girls that are singling you out, that are making you feel bad, that are isolating you, that were your friends at one time?
Focus on yourself, because I'm focusing on my career and I feel very fulfilled right now. Even though I'm still healing in a lot of ways, still have therapy, still talk to my psychiatrist, still have tasks that I need to do. Like, it's nothing wrong with getting help. And I will say, like, some people that are raised to not believe in therapy, they're some of the main people that need somebody professional to speak to. Somebody that isn't going to be biased, somebody that isn't going to pretend to be your friend or pretend to care about you. They get not only get paid for this, but they got a degree for this. They know psychology on an entirely different level. So there's no problem with getting professional help to deal with it, because Lord knows I did. I did.
Yeah, no, I'm a big advocate for therapy too. And a lot of people say, oh, well, as a Christian, you shouldn't be going to therapy. I'm like, the Bible literally says to confess your sins unto others.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we all need a little help.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to transition to our Ask Alex segment because we had a couple of questions this week that I
Yes.
to answer. So let's go to our Ask Alex form. And if you guys want to leave your questions and have a chance for them to be featured in the next episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood, click the Ask Alex link in the episode description, and I will give you guys the best advice that I possibly can. Okay. Okay, so let's see. We have a couple. For some reason, hold on.
It's okay.
Okay, here it is. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. How do I learn? Okay, so hi, Alex. How do I learn to stop comparing myself to others? I know this might be a cliche question, but it's something I've always struggled with, especially in my hobby, and which I've always loved. I know there isn't really a right answer to this question, but I'll take anything. Have a lovely day.
I have a great answer for this,
Oh, I want to hear it.
especially growing up as a dancer.
Yes, okay.
You have to understand that everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. There's strengths that you have that somebody else doesn't, vice versa, and even weaknesses. So there's going to be opportunities where somebody else gets picked for your hobby, gets picked by like validation wise by peers because they have something that you don't, but you have something that they don't as well. So like, and it might not be in the eyes of the people that you want it, but you're a prize in so many people's eyes that you haven't even met yet. And I had to learn a lot of that with comparing myself to a lot of dancers because everybody dances differently. Everybody has their different style, everybody has a different background. And at the end of the day, like being on a dance floor is a team and everybody's strengths play a part in it, especially as far as beauty. We don't even need to touch on beauty. Everybody is beautiful. As long as you're beautiful on the inside, I believe this 100, like 1000%. If you have a beautiful personality, you're beautiful. If you have an ugly personality, you're ugly.
You're ugly.
It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with how you look. It has to do with how you act.
Oh my God. Half of your comes from the way you speak to and treat people.
You said what?
Half of your beauty comes from the way you speak to and treat people.
Yes, and even like it bounces back off onto you. Like I realized that I didn't find any comfort in talking crap about people. Like I've kind of gotten to a point where I'm just tired of it. It's the same with high school, it's the same stuff over and over
Over and
again.
over again.
And you're just beating the dead horse. Am I supposed to keep wasting my time and making myself feel like crap because I want to make you feel like crap too?
No.
Like I just be a beautiful person on the inside, be fulfilled with yourself, radiate that energy off onto others, and you are immediately beautiful. Immediately. People will want to be around you. Trust.
Absolutely. I would say comparison is the thief of joy.
Mm-hmm.
And to never compare, for they are far greater and they are far worse. The biggest mindset shift I would say is to stop looking at other people as competition and instead use them as inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at, there are definitely girls out there that I look and I'm like, oh, I like her outfit, or I like the way she does this, or I like the way she conducts herself. And I will use them as inspiration to say, I want to be like that instead of being like, oh, she's so pretty and I'm not, or she is, such a great business personality and I don't. Just use that as inspiration instead of putting yourself down, because what really does that do at the end of the day? I remember I asked that question on the podcast a couple of months ago. I was like, what do you really get out of hating yourself? You don't really get out of it.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that question. That was a really good question. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one. My ex who broke up with me because he said God told him to. Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yet me and him had already had done the do. Okay. Been together for 4 months, met my family, and I met his. Went on dates and spent the holidays together. After we broke up, I found out he gave me chlamydia. And honestly, I know I didn't miss him, but at the same time, I never told him that I had gotten pregnant and had an abortion. Wait, hold on. Oh, this is it keeps okay. So every time I see him at school, it's like a constant reminder that I was once carrying his baby. I know that he doesn't need to know, but I feel guilty and feel like at the end of the day, he does have a right to know. He's going to graduate in May. What do I do?
Do you have any words?
Okay.
Okay. You
It
go
just
for it.
it kept escalating. Like I thought you were gonna be like, oh, he broke up with me and I'm just sad about it, but it just kept going up. Okay, so I would say that it is normal. Do not judge yourself for missing him, because it sounds like you guys had a very close relationship, and despite the stuff he put through, I understand still having love for him and cherishing him and stuff like that, so I understand that. When it comes to the dilemma about telling him about the baby, I would say just evaluate the person that you know. If it's a guy that you know would be supportive of the choice you made, then maybe you could tell him. But if you know he is a guy that kind of like run his mouth or isn't the most supportive or has been verbally abusive in the past, I would say just keep that information to yourself.
Yeah.
You may feel like guilt or whatever, but it's probably just shame. And don't let your shame eat you into making a mistake of telling him, because what if he tells other people? You made a great decision. This does not sound like somebody that you should have a baby by. So I commend you for making such a strong decision. And you've been in a position that a lot of people, I don't know how you've done it, but you've done a good job so far. So validate your feelings. I would say we were talking about therapy. Go to therapy, do the work, heal, pray about it, cry about it, get it out. It's okay to be sad about this because something bad happened. This has been like a really sad chain of events. So I would say it's normal to grieve it.
Yeah, I would agree with you 100%. I would say personally, you know the guy better than we do.
Yes.
So evaluate him, evaluate how his reaction would be. But I will say, me personally, depending on who the individual is or was, I wouldn't, I would keep it to myself, or mainly because I know that part of being a girl is sharing certain information with somebody because you want a certain reaction. And I don't want that to diminish your spirit by any way, shape, or form because he didn't react in the way that you want him to, especially because you still have feelings for him. And that is like, it's a very adult situation that you went through. And even though you put yourself in that adult situation, you still shouldn't have to deal with the feelings of it alone, because we're all navigating stuff. So like, it's perfectly fine what happened. I mean, like, of course, I wouldn't condone any of the things that happen, but we're teenagers. It happens. It happens to adults too.
Yeah.
You can't force the truth out of somebody, and you can't force somebody to have safe intimacy or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I would say just try to keep it to yourself unless you feel like his personality is leading you towards otherwise.
Yes. And I would also say that this man, from an outsider looking in, has caused destruction in your life. It doesn't seem like he's added any value in your life. So when I say it's okay to grieve him and miss him, I say that to an extent. I wouldn't recommend reconciliation. I understand your feelings, but this is not an individual that should be in your life because I have not seen him add any kind of value in your life.
Or any benefit.
Yes, I would say pray on it, cry about it, but do not get back with him
By any means necessary.
by
No
any
matter
means.
what you do.
Leave that man alone. So I also want to thank that takes a lot of courage to share. So we want to thank that listener.
Yes.
Thank you for submitting. That's a beautiful question. Okay.
Thank you. And being vulnerable,
That was
not scared.
Yeah.
Because that's a very touchy situation to share.
Talk about. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're very weird for that.
Yes.
Okay. Last one. Okay. So boom. I was talking to this guy, and before he did anything, he told me that he wasn't ready to commit to anything, and that he didn't want to rush into a relationship because he had to work on him, and that good things take time. That's a line, but okay, we'll keep going. So
Don't they all say that?
yeah, that's a line. So I'm like, okay, perfect, because it's time for me. Like, I'm trying to get closer to God, finish my senior year strong. I'm focused on college. I have a job. I'm booked and busy, period. Me just being me, I'm thinking it's the same for him. Like, he has a job. He's chasing his dreams. He's also a man of God. In my head, I'm thinking, this is why he isn't ready to commit. This is why he's not trying to rush into anything. And I was overly fine with that because, again, it was the same for me. I could respect it. Girl, long story short, come to find out the reason why he wasn't ready for anything is because this man is a whore. I know. So I guess my question is, if a guy says if a guy says he isn't ready to commit, does that mean he isn't ready to commit into a relationship, or is he isn't ready to or willing to commit to me? And should I be loyal to a guy that I'm only talking to? Okay, so this is crazy because I just talked about this last week.
I have one thing to say.
Say it, please.
Excuse any noises that you hear in the background because my dog ate something that he shouldn't have. And he's having some digestion issues. So I hope he's okay. He's crazy. He ate some.
Poor dog. It wasn't chocolate, right?
It was worse. It was aluminum foil. Chico.
So I just talked about this last week. It's insane. If a guy says he is not ready to get into a relationship, he's not ready to get into a relationship with you. It has nothing to do with him or the status of his life right now. It just has to do with you. Because I know at the point that I'm at right now, we've talked a lot about like our journeys and stuff. But if I were to meet a guy who was a man of God and was willing to treat me right, and I really liked him. I would say, what, I am still on my spiritual journey. I am still working on myself, but I am willing to take this relationship because you are, the guy that I prayed for. And I would get into that relationship despite my personal growth journey. So a guy who says that to you, it's a lie. I said that when I first read it. Yeah, he just doesn't want to be in a relationship with you. That's the hard truth. Tough love. What else? What was the other question? Should I be loyal to a guy that I'm only talking to? I would say if you're both exclusively talking to each other, but if he has a roster, no, you should not. What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree with the fact that is a lie. And I'm glad that you said the hard truth was kind of just he didn't want to be in a relationship with you, or he just wants somebody to mess around with and not take serious. Yes. And in a lot of situations, there are females out here that aren't wife material. And some guys want that, and that's not your problem.
That's not your problem. That's not your problem.
So that's really all I have to say about that. There was another part to it as well.
She said, should she be loyal to a guy that she's only talking to?
I agree. If this is like a talking stage, me personally, yes.
Yeah.
But if he has a roster and you have a roster, have fun. I'm just saying, if you know he's not loyal, don't let anybody tell you the situationship stuff where it's like, oh, you're mine, but you're not. And they pick and choose when to claim you. Let's leave that in 2024.
Yes, please, Jesus.
Yeah. I know better now.
Yes, I know better now too, because I have been in one too many. Situationships don't exist. Yeah, and that's the thing I was talking about. Like, when a guy likes you, Like, I have been in situations before where it's like a guy really is seriously crushing or whatever, and I've never had to question. It's like, okay, I know he likes me or whatever. When you're confused, he doesn't like you. Guys are not that complicated. We overcomplicate it way too much because we want to, like, loosen it. But, yeah,
I literally used to, you just reminded me of what I used to tell people all the time. If you're confused, he doesn't want you.
He doesn't want
if you are confused, because babe, I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but let's just say when it comes to confusion, I usually never have to worry about it. Also because I don't have a lot of dating experience. I just choose not to because I don't like the guys of our generation. I'm very untouched. I have a lot of pride in being basically untouched. But Lord have mercy. Guys, relationships, people.
Yes. This girl, okay, whoever submitted this, I would also say to this person, like we said to our last person, by any means necessary, you leave this man alone. Because he also wants to see if you're available. So he'll also come crawling back to you when he sees that you're doing well, and he'll be like, oh, well, I'm ready for a relationship now, or do you just want to keep messing around now, or whatever. Like, don't let him have any kind of access to your life.
If I'm being honest, like, I don't mean to like give this type of advice, but guys get, what's the word? It's easier for them to move on from girls when they have another girl.
Oh, yeah.
You would be surprised how less you would think, how much less you would think about the guy if you had another guy. And I mean that in the sense of, no, I mean it exactly how I say it. I'm not even going to try and sugarcoat it. Chico, I can't leave him unattended. He just likes to walk around. He can't anymore. He just can't. But I mean, if guys can do it, girls can do it too. If I'm being honest. Like, I know one thing. If somebody that I used to talk to has moved on, I have to move on eventually, because at a certain point it gets embarrassing. It gets embarrassing at a certain point, and I know that, and I'm fully aware of that. And of course, I have my feelings towards certain things, but I know when to move on.
Get heavy on that part, because
I know.
Lord. I think it's a universal experience. I think everybody has to be, or maybe this is just what happened to me. You have to be dogged out like one good time. You have to look really stupid like one good time. Like, you have to have been a dummy one time, and then you just never let it happen again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you know when you're up.
For some people, they do the method where they keep going back until they're tired of it. Me personally,
Do that.
please, I am appalled. I used to have a friend who was in that situation, and I'm not going to like say anything bad about it because it's feelings towards a guy. I'm not in her situation. Of course we have our guys where we have no problem going back to every time.
Yeah.
At
Right.
a certain point,
We gotta get out.
I can barely handle one breakup or a friendship breakup, nonetheless 5 situations of being led on.
No, I couldn't do it either. That's why I've never had like a roster because it's like one, I pick favorites. Like I know I just like one guy, and I'm like, well, if I like you, like I don't want to talk to Mary Sue and Bobby Joe. I want to talk to him, and then I'll talk to him. And then if he doesn't work out, then I'm like hurt because it's like, okay, I liked him. What do you mean I gotta go talk to somebody else? Like I gotta grieve you first.
I don't have the patience for a roster.
I don't have the time. I cannot text 5 people good morning.
Girl, tell me about it. Sometimes, like recently, I had like a little ego booster, if you will, where I kind of set myself up to develop a roster, and it was extremely successful. Also because guys are easy. Guys are very easy.
They're
And
easy.
it's just social media. Like, have fun. It's senior year. I'm not taking anybody serious, and it's not like I'm meeting up with these people. It's just to get my mind off some stuff. I just want to. Yes,
Have one. And my
girl.
mom, what my mom told me to do?
What?
Oh my god. She told me to make a competition either on here or on the show for like somebody to take me prom. I was like, it's never.
With mom. Because let me tell you, a week ago, because I just got a date last week. And I'm kind of putting my business out there, but like.
Look at God.
Anyways, let's just say sometime last week, I was texting some of my friends, and I was like, "You guys need to find me a prom date."
Yes.
Because you see, the thing is, my ex has a prom date,
Oh, so you
and
have one.
I don't to sound cocky, but I'm a bad. Man,
You're a bad.
what do I look like? Not having a date. So I took it upon myself to ask somebody, and it was very successful. He might watch this. I don't know. But I find him, yeah, he's a cool guy. I find him a little bit attractive. We're keeping it cute. We're keeping it friends, which I love. He's very respectful. He doesn't try to make our conversations into something that it's not. So it's kind of strictly just prom friends and getting to know each other. We're also going to have a friend tag along with us as well because she doesn't go to our school anymore. So that's one of my best friends, and she'll be with us. But when I asked him, I think it kind of made his day, and it kind of made my day because I haven't had a lot of really good days recently up until that day.
Well, we got you a date. Look at
Yeah.
God.
And then the day after, girl, I was listening to my Katy Perry. I was listening to, excuse me, but I was listening to my white girl music. And I was in class. I was in class bumping. I was like, ooh. And I was just ego booster. Like, I just, kind of felt like a breath of fresh air.
No, I get that. No, I understand that. Yeah, with me, it's harder with me because I'll say like, okay, I'm open to dating because I haven't dated in a while. My love life makes my head hurt, and I'll say I'm open to dating, but then I've noticed I have my guard up a little bit.
Mm.
So guys will try to talk to me or be like, I love your show or whatever. I saw you or whatever, and I'm like, okay, thanks.
Like, thanks. What else?
I don't know. I'm getting better at that. But another thing is I'm like a little selective. So I like know who I want to talk to me before they talk to me. So it's hard navigating that.
Girl, I'm very picky.
Date.
I'm very picky. I like a respectful, well-mannered, family-oriented,
God,
God-oriented, goal-driven. Even if you don't consider yourself religious, as long as Jesus is the Son of God.
Ooh.
Like, because I learned that Jesus wasn't technically religious. If we're like, I don't want to get
Going
too,
all the way back.
yeah, I don't want to get too much into religion, but as long as you believe what I believe, I mean, heck.
Yeah, no, I get it, because this guy asked me last week, but I know he has very different values than I do, I'll say. He's, not the most gentleman-like guy. And I don't want to get to a situation at prom where I'm uncomfortable or just don't want to be with my date. So I was like, I didn't even respond. Is that bad to say?
Girl, you're telling the wrong person, because I'm all for not responding. Girl, I look at my texts and be like, but you're not him. Not that there is a specific him, like, we're not even going to get into that. But, like, you're not the guy that I need
to take me right. To be made.
You're not my God sent guy.
Right. We're going to work on it. Maybe I will be open to some kind of contest or letting somebody hook me up or whatever. But he has to be, these are my requirements for anybody listening. He has to be tall, because I'm 5'10". You got to be at least above 6'1". You have to be a man of God. You have to be a man of God. Not a Christian boy, not, religious, but a man of God. And have a nice suit. That's because it's just prom. So those are the only 3 things I require. Oh, and don't mind taking a lot of like pictures and videos, because I'll definitely be like doing stuff for the show for prom. Oh, definitely. So you have to be comfortable on camera. And that's it. You see how easy it is?
I'll tell you one thing about my prom day. He don't got no choice. You are going to prom with the Aashyrahs and I'm in it. Do you know who I am?
Like, so you better.
And not my entire life, but a lot of my life is public.
Ugh, I know that.
You're gonna be in this video. My kids will know I had a date and that I wasn't. They need living proof. They'll be like, my mama asked somebody to prom and she got her date.
You asked somebody, so you weren't like uncomfortable, because my thing is like, this is cliche, but I have been asked to homecoming before, but I never got like the poster.
Oh, I don't want that.
Cookie bag. You didn't want that?
I don't want that because I can't share my happiness with the people at my school. They're vultures.
Oh.
They will find any and every way to make you miserable as they are. And it's just
to the choir.
It's just one of those situations where, like, I know for a fact that I would jump off a wall if one of my friends got a promposal, but if that's the case for me, I'll get a side eye. So I want to avoid that.
Good point. I should keep it private, because them with young girls, and I love when young. I'm so glad I got there. Like, I've gotten so many opportunities from there. I'm not shaming them, but some of the girls I go to school with are so catty, and they will like look at any little thing to tear you down, especially with me. So that's such a good idea. I'm gonna get me a whole man, and they ain't gonna know. They ain't gonna know.
Yeah, I'm keeping mine very private. He's not my man, but I'm keeping my date very extremely private. A few people know. I kind of just want to pop out, just because I was telling my therapist, I was like, I kind of feel like I'm on Disney Channel, where like, not that he's definitely not an ugly guy. He's, in my eyes, by far from ugly. He's one of those guys that has potential. Okay. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like, I guess, to give him a little makeover. Oh, and I know he's finna look fine.
Oh, okay.
I know.
For prom, that's gonna be the vlog.
I don't care if he sees this, because I wasn't nervous to ask him, because like we're associates, we're friends. We've had a few interactions together, and he's just like very to himself. Okay. So good. I want somebody that's not in the spotlight, compared to mistakes I've made in the past where I was with somebody that's in the spotlight and it didn't make me any less visible. Yeah. Tell me about it. So, I'm super, super duper excited, because I was not looking forward to my senior events until recently. Okay. So, well, okay. I like this. We found you a date. I want a whole prom vlog. I'm very excited. Yes. We're gonna find me a date. Thank you for coming on today. What did you learn today? What were your key takeaways? That we're so much alike. We are so much. Girl, let me know. Yes. Let me know, because I need friends. I need friends. I don't need friends, but in this circumstance, I want to be around people that are going to benefit my mental. And Shayar's kids aren't that. So
Neither Neo.
now I changed my phone number. Only like 2 people from my school have it right now.
That's cute. Should do
And I plan on only giving it to 2 more people in a week. And then other than that, it's just family. So if anybody wants to send me a whole nother novel of how much they don't like me, do it on social media. God, where I could press block and unfollow.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud of you, and I want to just give a moment of it, like a little word of wisdom to some of the people that are listening right now that are struggling with the same thing. You're not in high school forever. You're not going to be in college forever. You're not going to be at that same job forever. You know, you're going to have to deal with people in life who are jerks, who pick on you, who are jealous of you. But
you have to think twice about high school.
Yeah, you're not really going to care. But those people, they're just insecure. People who look at you and just seem to hate you for no good reason are more than likely jealous of you. And sometimes you gotta just take it as a compliment. That's what I do sometimes. I'm like, oh, you're jealous of me.
You're like, you really think this? Like,
of me? I know of me.
Right.
Thank you.
I'm just here.
So continue to love on yourself. Make sure your identity is rooted in Christ, and to never do people how they do you, but how it says in the Bible, forgive 7 times 70.
Okay.
Pray for those who persecute you. Okay?
Yes. Because Jesus was persecuted.
Okay, and he said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they're doing.
First, Cardi B's sister Hennessy said, Jesus Christ was persecuted, and he was a good man. I love her accent.
I love her too. Okay, you gotta be on here again. Okay, we gotta see you again. It was great having you on. Make sure to vote for Aashyrah, guys.
Yes, please.
For Ciara's music video. Subscribe to her YouTube channel. Her links, all of her links, her social media links are in the episode description below. Aashyrah, thank you so much for coming on. And I will see you guys next week on our next episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. That's it for today's episode of Literally My Life, My Guide to Girlhood. If you found this episode valuable, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. It helps more than you know. You can also keep up with me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where I share even more insights, interviews, and behind-the-scenes moments. Remember, growth isn't always pretty, but every step forward is a step closer to the life you deserve. Keep showing up for yourself, keep striving, and as always, stay focused, stay fearless, and stay you. Until next time.